In the previous tutorial, we have learned AutoCAD 3D basics. Now, in this tutorial, we will solve some exercises based on what we learned in previous tutorial. We will create this object and this object. Let's start with this object. If you are interested in previous tutorial about 3D basics, then link is given in the description. As our drawing is in millimeter, therefore click here and select AutoCAD ISO.dwt template. Then type UN for units, press enter. Here I will be using length type as decimal, precision is 4 digit, angle type is decimal degrees, precision is 0, and insertion scale is millimeter. So I will not be making any changes to this. Click on OK. Then I will be keeping this object snap tracking on. If it is in blue color, that means it is on. Then I will be keeping this object snap on, and if you click on this arrow here, I will be using endpoint, midpoint, center, quadrant, intersection and extension object snaps. Then I prefer this dynamic UCS is also turned off. Click on it. So here dynamic UCS is off. If in your case this dynamic UCS is not visible, then you can make it visible by clicking on these three lines, and from here you can make dynamic UCS visible or invisible, and I prefer it to be turned off. Then to switch to 3D environment, click here on this arrow and select 3D modeling. Then to view Z-axis, click here on unsaved view and select SE isometric. Then to shift this on this side, type UCS icon, press enter and select no origin. In this object, at first we will create this portion. So at first we will create this shape. Now this circle radius is 40, then this length is 130 and this length is 80. That means you can work out this length by subtracting this 80 from this 130. That means this length will become 50. So we will create this circle of radius 40 and these lines of length 50. Click on circle, specify center point, take your cursor away and specify radius of 40. Enter, then zoom there, then click on line, click on this quadrant, then make ortho on. Take your cursor on this side and specify length of 50. Enter. Then take your cursor on this side, specify length of 80. Enter. And click on this quadrant. Press enter. Then to remove this half circle, type TR for trim. Press enter. Enter. And click on objects to be removed. Press enter. Then next is to create this circle of radius 20. Click on circle, then specify center point. Now here it is not showing the center of the circle. For that you will have to take your cursor on circle, then it will display it. And click there, then specify radius of 20, enter. Then to convert this object into 3D, click on press pull. Take your cursor inside this shape, click there, take your cursor above and specify height of 20. And enter, and press enter again to stop press pull command. Then to change visual style, click here and click on shaded with edges. So it will be shown in 3D look. Then next is to create this portion. At first we will create this block of 80 by 80. As this radius is 40, that means this diameter will be 80. Click on rectangle, then specify first point, take your cursor away and specify size of 80, 80. Press enter. Then to convert this rectangle into 3D, click on press pull. Take your cursor inside this rectangle, click, take it above, then specify height of 100 and press enter and enter. Then next is to create this cut. Here circle radius is 24 and this height is 20 and it is located at the center of this line of 80. Now to create this reference line at the height of 20, take your cursor here to extract edges and click on this arrow and select copy edges. Then click on this edge. Now here it is giving error, a 3D solid must be selected. Now here actually we have that square which we created to create this 3D object. Because of that square it is not selecting the 3D edge. So we will have to erase that square. For that press escape to cancel this command. Then to erase this square type E, enter. Then we will use crossing window to select both that line and this 3D object. Then to cancel the selection of this 3D object, press and hold shift and click on this 3D object. So here you can see that one found, one removed and total one object is selected. Press enter. Then again click on copy edges. Then select this line. Press enter, specify base point, take your cursor above and specify height of 20. Press enter and press escape. Then create this circle of radius 24. Now this circle needs to be created on this surface. So to work on this surface you will have to choose right UCS. To change to right UCS, click here and select right. So here you can see that grid has got vertical and XY axis are also vertical and Z is horizontal. Click on circle, then specify center point at this midpoint. Take your cursor away, specify radius of 24. Enter. Then zoom there. Then click on line. Then click on this quadrant point. Take your cursor below. Then take your cursor to this end point. Then track that end point and click. Press enter. Again press enter. Take your cursor to this quadrant and click. Take your cursor below. Then take your cursor to this end point. Track that end point and click. Press enter. Then to remove unwanted objects, we will have to use trim command. Type TR for trim. Press enter. Then cutting edge will be this line. Click on it. Press enter and click on this circle. Press enter. Then remove this line. Type E. Press enter and select this line. Press enter. Then create hole. Click on press pull. Then click inside this shape. Take your cursor on this side. Take it outside and click and press enter. To orbit it, press shift, press middle mouse button and drag the mouse. Here we can see that a through hole is created. I don't want this grid. You can turn it off from here. Click. Then next is to copy this edge at the gap of 20 and to copy this edge at the gap of 24 and 38. Again click on copy edges. Select this edge, enter, specify base point, take your cursor below, specify height of 20, enter. Again click on copy, select this vertical line, enter, specify base point, take your cursor on this side, specify gap of 24, enter. Then press escape. Now this is a 2D line, therefore this line cannot be copied using copy edges. So for this line we will have to use regular copy command. So click here on copy, select this line, press enter, specify base point, take your cursor on this side and specify gap of 38. press enter and enter. Then to cut this portion, click on press pull, click inside this shape, take your cursor on this side and click and press enter. Then to create this shape, here height is 48 and it is at the center. This length is 40. We know that this total length is 80. That means this remaining will be 20, 20. Click on copy edges, select this line, enter, specify base point, take your cursor below, specify height of 48, enter, click on copy, select this edge, enter, specify base point, take your cursor on this side, specify length of 20, enter. Again click on copy, select this line, enter, specify base point, take your cursor on this side, specify length of 20, enter and press escape. Then again click on press pull, select this shape, take your cursor on this side and click and press enter. Then we want to place this object here. For that click on move, select this object, enter, then specify this end point as a base point, make ortho off, and this end point will be our second point. Click there, then remove these lines, type E, enter and select all these lines, press enter. Then next is to create this rib of 25 length, then height will be this 100 minus this 48 minus this 20, that is 32. So we will create this triangle of 25 length, 32 height, and our plane is correct, that is XY is vertical. Click on line, specify first point, make ortho on, take your cursor below, specify height of 32, enter. Then take your cursor on this side, specify length of 25, enter. Then click on this endpoint, press enter. Then click on press pull, take your cursor inside this shape, click, take your cursor on this side, specify length of 10, enter, enter. Then move this object, click on move, select this object, enter, then base point will be this midpoint and second point will be this midpoint. Remove this object, E, enter, select this object, enter. To convert this object into single object, click here on union and select all these objects. Press enter. Then to change color of this object, double click on it. Click here, click on select color, then choose your desired color and click on OK. Press escape. So this object is ready. Then to create next object, click here on this new drawing. So it will automatically start drawing using a CAD ISO template. Then type UN, enter. So unit is same as required by us. Click on OK. In this object, at first we will create this circle of 15 and 25. To view Z-axis, click here on unsaved view. Click on AC isometric. Then shift this UCS icon, type UCS icon, press enter and click on no origin. Click on circle, specify center point, take your cursor away, specify radius of 15. Enter, then zoom there, then press enter to repeat circle command. Take your cursor on this circle so that it will show the center point. Click there, take your cursor away, specify radius of 25, enter. Then zoom minus, then give the height of 80. Then to convert this object into 3D, click on press pull, take your cursor inside these two circles, click there, take your cursor above and specify height of 80, enter, enter. Then click here and click on shaded with edges. Then next is to create this portion. Now this length is 37 and we know that this radius is 25. That means this length will be 37 minus this 25, that is 12, and this diameter is 40. As per that we will create this shape, and we will have to create this shape on this plane. To shift our uses to this plane we will have to use front. Click here and choose front. So here xy is vertical and z is horizontal in this direction. And I don't want this grid. You can turn it off from here. Click on circle, specify center point, take your cursor away, specify radius of 20, enter. Zoom there, click on line, click on this quadrant, take your cursor on this side, then length will be 12, enter, make ortho on, take your cursor below, specify height of 40, enter, and click on this quadrant, press enter. Then type TR, enter, enter, and click on these objects to be removed. Press enter. Then we will have to create this internal circle of radius 10. Click on circle, take your cursor to this circle so that it will show the center point. Click there, take your cursor away, specify radius of 10, enter. Then click on press pull, take your cursor inside this shape, click, then width will be this total width, that is 10 plus 6 plus 10, that is 26. 26, enter, enter. Then we will place this shape here, click on move, select this object, enter, then base point will be this midpoint, click on it, and second point will be this quadrant point, click, then orbit it, press and hold shift, press middle mouse button and drag the mouse. Then to merge this object into this object, click on press pull. Then take your cursor on this surface. Once it gets highlighted, click there. Take your cursor on this side, take it inside. We can also specify length of 6 and press enter. Then press enter to stop press pull command. If we merge these two objects, then this shape will be removed. To merge these two objects, click on union. Then select this object and press enter. So here this shape is properly created. Then remove this shape, E, enter, select this object, enter. Then next is to create this cut of 6 sides. For that we will have to create one rectangle here. Now we want to create that rectangle on this surface. To work on this surface we will have to use top plane. Click here and click on top. So here our XY axis is horizontal and Z axis is vertical. Click on line. Take your cursor to the center. Now here it is not showing center. For that take your cursor on this circle, then it will show you center point. Click there. Take your cursor on this side and click. Press enter. Then click on offset. Then specify offset distance of 3. Enter. Then select this line. Take your cursor on this side and click. Then select this line. Take your cursor on this side and click. Press enter. Then remove this internal line. Type E. Enter. Select this line. Press enter. Then connect these lines. Click on line. Then click on this endpoint and this endpoint. Press enter. Enter. This endpoint and this endpoint and enter. Then to convert this object into single object, click here on modify and click on join and select all these lines and press enter. Then to convert this object into 3D, click here on extrude, then select this rectangle, press enter, take your cursor below outside the cylinder and click. Then to create this hole, we will have to use subtract. Click on subtract. Then in subtract, at first you will have to select object to subtract from. So we want to subtract from this object. Then press enter. Then select solid to subtract. So we want to subtract this solid. Press enter. And here this cut is created perfectly. Click on AC isometry. Then we will create this portion. At first we will create this rectangle. Now this length will be, we know that this total length is 45 and radius of this circle is 25. That means this length will be 20 and this length is 12. That means this total length will be 20 plus 12, that is 32, and this height is 40. Click on rectangle, specify first point, take your cursor away. Now we want to create this rectangle vertical, press escape. That means again we want to work on this plane. For that we will have to choose front. So click here and click on front. Click on rectangle, specify first point, take your cursor below. Then length in x direction will be 32, comma, length in y direction will be 40. Press enter. Then click on press pull. Click inside this shape. Then width will be 20. Take your cursor on this side and specify width of 20. Enter. Enter. Then to create this circle of 20 radius, click on circle, specify center point, take your cursor away, specify radius of 20. Enter. Click on press pull. Click inside this circle. Then this width is 40. Take your cursor on this side, specify width of 40. Enter. Enter. Then move this cylinder. Click on move. Select this object. Enter. Then take your cursor to this quadrant and take it inside. So it will track it. Then specify distance of 20. Enter. Then click on this midpoint. So here it has been placed perfectly. Then remove this circle. Type E. Enter. Select this object. Enter. Then to combine these two objects, click on union. Then select these both objects. Press enter. Then create this hole of 12.5 radius. Click on circle. Click on the center point. Specify radius of 12.5. Enter. Then click on press pull. Click inside this circle. Take your cursor on this side and click. Press enter. Then click on move. Select this object. Enter. Then orbit it. Click on this midpoint and click on this quadrant point or midpoint. Then to combine them, click on press pull. Click on this face. Take your cursor inside. Specify depth of 8. Enter. Enter. So here it has been placed properly. You can specify length less than 8 also. Our target is to clear this circle. Then to combine these two objects, click on union and select these objects. Press enter. Then type E, enter, select these objects, enter. Then click on AC isometric. Zoom there. Then to create this rib. Now we know that this length is 20, that is 45 minus this 25, and this height is 40. Now this rib is a complicated feature. We will need this curvature here. So to create this rib accurately, we will have to use loft command. For that loft, we will create some sketches. At first we will create this bottom shape. Now we want to create those shape horizontal. Therefore click here and select top so that XY will be horizontal. Then click on rectangle. Specify base point, take your cursor away, then specify length in x-axis as 20, comma, width is 10, enter, then zoom there, then click on this arrow near the circle and click on this 2 point, then click on this midpoint, take your cursor on this side and specify diameter of 50, enter, then zoom here, then explode this rectangle, type X, enter, select this rectangle, enter, then extend it, type EX, enter and click. Then to remove this portion, press shift and click on these objects. Okay, we will have to erase this, enter, enter, select, enter. Then move this arc at the height of 40, click on move, select this arc, enter, specify base point, take your cursor above, specify height of 40, enter, zoom minus. Then to convert this object into single object, click on modify, click on join and select this object, press enter. Now this is a single object. Then we will also need guidelines. For that, click on line, click on this endpoint and this endpoint, enter, this endpoint and this endpoint, press enter. Then click on this arrow near extrude and click on loft. Then select this shape and this shape. Now this shape is created but not as per our requirement. Press enter, then click on guides, then select this line, orbit it and select this line. Now this shape is perfect. Press enter, then click on move, select this object, enter, click on this midpoint. One or more surface are associated, cancel the operation and we will have to select all the objects. So click on move and use crossing window so that everything will be selected. Press enter, then base point will be this midpoint, click on this midpoint, make ortho off and click on this midpoint. Then to convert this object into 3D, type surf sculpt, press enter, then select all these objects, press enter. So here this object is converted into 3D and single object. Then to change color, double click on it, click here, scroll down, click on select color and from here you can select your desired color. Click on OK, press escape. Then you can remove these white lines. For that, move this object, click on move, select this object, enter, specify base point, take it outside and click and remove these objects. Type E, enter, select these objects, enter. So here this object is also ready. In the next tutorial we will learn next set of 3D commands and after that we will solve some exercises based on those commands. So thanks for watching. We will stop here.